This is a story about a man named Enox Shepard, known better as artist Enox Shabazz, and man once stained by the choices of his past. Now he dances gracefully across canvases. Today we follow him from his beginnings at camp, through his troubles with the law, to the man he is today.
Enox Shepard is an extraordinary human being.
This right here is basically where I learned who I was.
I had a discussion with his mother many, many years ago, and she was worried about Enox's future. And she was happy to have him at camp because there she thought he would learn some of the most important lessons of life, and he needed it.
This is probably the only place where I felt like I could be myself and not have to be cool, not worry about somebody beating me up because I said something wrong or I don't got to fight. I come here, I can be a jokester, I could laugh, I could just play basketball. Wasn't that good at basketball. That was the best over here because there wasn't nobody that good anyway, so I was the best.
Enox was famous for his three-step hook shot, I guess you would call it. I don't recall any of them ever going in. So it's no surprise to me that Enox is a professional artist and not playing for the Knicks.
So I kept coming back, and every summer, then I became an LIT, which you get paid to come back now. You got to get chosen to come back. You got to do all the accompaniment. You got to do your job, you know. And art was my main thing that kept me coming back because they needed my art. It made me popular here. I used to paint on jeans here at camp with the kids. I used to go do murals on the cabins and just do designs in the sand, whatever. Art, it was incredible. It was just the energy of just the art. So now it's time for the staff party. Every summer we have a staff get together. Everybody goes to a little off camp grounds. Everybody goes, hangs out. And I remember laying in my bunk, hoping they didn't come get me. I'm laying in my bunk. Next thing I know, my cabin knocks. Boop, boop, boop. I was like, oh my God, he came and got me. The society pressures of the life and trying to be cool, trying to fit in. You think I would have learned at 18, 19 years old, but you still have your things where you still feel like you need to go. So I hopped out of the cabin. I met him on Main Trail. We went down Main Trail. We hopped in the minivan, and then we went to the camp party down the street. And next thing you know, we get a phone call. Mike Sherman is down on main camp. Somebody went and told on us. Everybody was sitting in there one by one to explain their side of the story, and everybody was coming out of there fired. And I remember going inside that boathouse, it was the last day of my life, and standing in front of that man you just talked to, and having to explain to that man why I went to that party. But I couldn't even say it. All I did was cry. I remember that man sitting in front of me just like, and I saw the shame in his eyes, like, I can't believe you went to this party, Enox. He said, well, I'm not gonna fire you, because I know how your heart is. He said, what I'm gonna do is you can't go to staff banquet. That was my punishment. That was my way of giving back to Camp Woodstock for my mistakes that I made when I got let go. Because I was about to be in charge of the whole camp. Mike made a big announcement at the campfire, I'm gonna be in charge. So I blew all of that. But I went to that party, and I'm kind of glad because you know what? I wasn't ready for that position that Mike was getting ready to give me. But now that I'm 50 years old, it took a long time, but now I'm ready.
However, the transition from the carefree days of camp to the uncharted territory of adulthood were not without their challenges. Enox decided to go to Payer College to pursue his art, but ended up dropping out due to an incident on campus.
This is my old college right here, Payer College of Art. My mom used to work her butt off to send me to this private school. But I did about 2 years in the school, and I took illustration. At the end of the day, though, every summer after camp, I come to school. This is where it all began, basically, because this is when I got my freedom. I was probably like 18, 19 years old, coming out of high school, living on my own. I learned how to be a young man, you know. I had a family in New Haven, even though we're in Hamden. They're right down the street. So I had my aunts, uncles down there. I'd go after school and go hang out with my family. But this is where I started really living my life and really realizing that it's time to put those things that I learned into life skills now. So I had to now, once again, find a way to fit in. You want to be social with other kids. You want to be able to be, you want to be, known. So I did that. And we turned to me bringing them out there with me to meet people and have them meet people to find other stuff they wanted. It got me kind of like, not hustling like that, but like helping them find the marijuana kind of like helped me fit in with the school a little better. That might have been the beginning of my whole my whole thing of like even getting caught up in that stuff in the future, in the past, whatever. I love this. I had so many good times here, so many great memories, you know. So a tragedy occurred at my college, was one of the major reasons why I stopped going. I started coming into myself a little bit more, started staying at my dorm a little bit more. I was doing really good. And I remember that night, it was yesterday, I was sitting in my room right there. My friends came down unexpectedly. And my friends brought a friend with them that I didn't even know. They came down and we were having a party that night in the basement. There was Southern football team was here. So a lot of people were here that night. And I was like, you know what guys, go downstairs, I'll be on there in a minute. I'm gonna come on here and hang with you guys. I should have had my friends leave, but I didn't because I was trying to be, you know, Mr. Cool Guy again. The party went on, they were arguing over music downstairs. And before I can get down there and tell them, everybody, these are my friends, everybody chill out, get along, be the middle guy for it. I came outside right here in the parking lot. I came around this way, and there was a fight erupted in my parking lot. I mean, it was crazy. And one of the roommates got hit and almost got killed with the bat. And so long story short, it was really bad that night. So what happened after that was I was kind of ashamed. My roommates that knew me, they knew I had nothing to do with it. But the peers in the school and the college over here, they didn't know me as well. My roommates knew me. They didn't know me that well, like my roommates knew me. They knew I had nothing to do with that. But the guilt and the pressure of society and all that stuff, I just stopped going to school and started my life, you know. But in the same time, I should have made the right decision and told my friends to come back another time, but I didn't, you know. Well, I wish I did.
After his college days, Enox went further down the wrong path and became a full-time drug dealer. After many years of hustling, Enox was finally caught and arrested.
As you know, routine stop right here. I was actually coming down from the plaza over there meeting somebody, a friend of mine. I was coming to the light. I was heading to New Britain. And I got a phone call from a good friend of mine, rest in peace. He called me up to come pick him up. He called me, I said, I'll be there in 1 minute. So instead of me going left to the highway, I went straight and the light was red turning yellow. And then the cop got behind me, pulled me over right about there by the car wash. And then he opened the door up and you read the paper, it says the whole smell of marijuana in the car. He did a drug search and they found a lot of stuff on me. I actually gave it to him. I mean, I didn't want to run. I didn't want to like try to fight, argue. I was just like, basically I just threw my hands up. You know, it was like, I made it easy for him. I was ready to stop. You know, I was ready to stop running these streets. I was getting tired. The law was kind of gently on me. They did me justice, and I learned my lesson. But it was almost like an overwhelming feeling when I got pulled over, just like freedom. You can't call my phone. I can't be reached. It's like all that pressure of having to be somewhere and go here and go there. Everybody calling my phone, and it was like a sigh of relief. Like, That's why I ended my little ramp of just running the streets, running with the wrong crowd, doing the wrong thing. This is when I really felt like I was finally free from everything.
I first met Enox in prison, but that's not the first time that I had heard about Enox's story. One of the people in the court walked over to me, and she had tears in her eyes. And she said, "I want you to know what a great job you did for your client." And then she said, "I wish that my son had had a lawyer like you." I said, "Who is your son?" And she said, my son's name is Enox, and he's just been sentenced to, I think it was 7 or 8 years in prison. And she said he never had an advocate, he never had anybody to say any of these things that you said for your client for him. And what you said about your client is what is going on with my son. So I simply said, "Where is he?" And I think he was in Robinson at the time. I think within 2 days, I was in a car and I was driving down to Carl Robinson to go see him.
When I got locked up, I did my little 30 days. When I was in there, I started drawing. And my bunk is weird because my bunk was right by the tier light. So I had a light on my bunk 24/7, so I could stay up and draw all night. So inmates were coming to me with pictures of their kids, pictures of their moms, and just photos and ideas they have for their rap albums or whatever they want to do in jail. and I started just drawing for commissary. Even one time I drew a picture of the one of the CEOs. I did a caricature of him, and it got passed around in prison, and he got it. He said, "Who drew this picture?" And he was mad. He told me, "Listen, I'm about to retire from this place." He said, "This drawing you made for me is awesome. When you get out of this prison, man, continue your dream of drawing, Enox, man. But tell everybody I yelled at you in this office, though. But when you go out there, though, you keep drawing, man. You're doing good. Keep it up." About 30 days in there, drawing, I drew so many pictures of people. I had guys going in their bunks, going under the covers, crying. I drew a picture of their child, you know? It was like, the feeling that it gave me, it was like, it was healing me, you know?
And I walked into the cell, and I saw this great big jolly man who smiled at me and laughed, and he had the smile and the twinkle in his eye of an angel. And we started talking about, you know, how he had become the worst drug dealer in the history of drug dealers, and how he had been taken advantage of by a bunch of drug dealers, like they do most people. And because of that, he got caught up in a rather large sting. He had taken a plea to, I think it was 7 or 8 years at the time. So I sat down with the prosecutor and I sat down with the judge, and I explained to him, you know, what I could do. And if this kid had just been given a shot at sobriety, maybe he could have a good, decent, he could become a good, decent person that I knew that he was. And so I was able to explain that to the judge, that this kid was not a gangbanger. This kid was just used by a bunch of gangbangers. It took a lot of convincing. You know, I asked them, what's best for all of us in the long run? Is it best that we keep him here for 6 or 7 years and then he stays in prison and really learns how to become a criminal? If we can identify that this isn't a person that is evil, that is somebody of bad moral character, that needs to be separated from the rest of us. If that's not the case, then, you know, why is it that this behavior happened? And is this dangerous behavior where we're all threatened immediately? Probably not. If it wasn't Enox who was driving that car with drugs in it that day, it had been somebody else. So what happened is Enox took a gamble on himself. They were going to release him, and they were going to hold the sentence open for a period of time. And if he got in trouble, or if he failed a drug test, he would have to do the entire amount of time. I think it was about 15 years. And I told him that he could do it, and it was pretty easy. And he was terrified. Just today. Can you stay sober today? Yes. And if I asked you tomorrow, you think that it'd be just as easy? Yeah, I do. And I'm like, that's all you need to do. I said, are you staying sober in prison? He said, yeah. Are there drugs in prison? Yes. Are you doing them? No. Okay, so you can stay away from drugs. But it was the only way that he was going to get out of prison. And it was the only way that he could show the judge and the prosecutor, and now everybody in the state of Connecticut, everybody in the town of Middletown, the mayor's office. I think that what Enox has done is certainly noteworthy, and is certainly the type of story that I want to be a part of.
Now, Enox has completely changed his life around for the better. Enox is a full-time artist, creating murals, portraits, and more, using his skills to make people smile.
So I made this too right here. I made that too. This is one of the first jobs I did when I started really getting noticed and getting notoriety. So Mark Fung gave me a call one day to come do this assignment for this kid that passed away, and his family donated some money for this gym for the community. This is one of many murals that I made, so this is the beginning. I did his garage.
Yeah, this painting,
It looks so good. See that? So I was telling him about the kid that donated, the thing that donated to,
yeah.
I love how you did it. It looks great. Yeah. That ain't going nowhere never. You did a great job, man. His name was Colton, that's his name.
Coulter, yeah.
Yeah, he actually drew that, and I did it my style.
Yeah, so that was his actual drawing in his
Yes.
book when he passed away.
Yeah. This is the guy that Mark trained in high school, right?
Yep.
Spivey. He went gold. Perry.
He's a
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah. So he went gold medal, you said? Or
He went up, he got second in the country. So
yes.
he's
Yep.
really probably the best freestyle wrestler ever from Connecticut.
So this is one of my biggest murals I ever did. Mark Fung hired me for this job. Wait, 2, 3 years ago? 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah. Talk about a friendship, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So me and Mark, yeah, go ahead.
So I know Enox way back from the neighborhood, and then when I was opening here and I know I wanted some Merles, I wanted Enox to do it for a couple reasons. Number one, he's really good at what he does. I like his work. But number two is this center is for people to overcome whatever it is that they had. So it could be a bad home life. It could be disability. It could be just a bad situation. It could be your past. So he really symbolizes all that, overcoming his past, overcoming his history, to come and turn around and be positive. So that is why I want Enox to be part of the center, and I love that every day I come in, I get to see the artwork outside. I get to see it here. I get to see it here, and that's why I wanted him, not only because he's a great artist, but because his story is what we want to do here as well.
Love you, man.
All right.
All right, appreciate you, man.